and welcome to Inspiring Voices, the podcast of the Cornwall Federation of WIs. I'm here today with Jane Dover, who's Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees, and Margaret Johnson, who is another of the trustees. And we're going to be talking about banners, WI banners in particular. Your WI may have a lovely banner that you bring out at meetings. Some of you might not have a banner, or perhaps you have one that's hidden away in storage somewhere. You may know that Jane writes a column in every issue of County News where we focus on a different WI's banner and talk a little bit about the history of it. What inspired you to start doing that, Jane?
Well, basically, it was because down in the depths of the basement at Chinaworth, I came across a folder which was started in the year 2000 when Annabel John was county chair, and it was a folder of photographs of all the banners. Well, we thought it was all the banners, but actually quite a few are missing. And I thought, oh, that would be nice. Wouldn't it be lovely to do a book based a little bit like the Village book, but based on banners? But it wasn't a popular decision with the rest of the board. And so I thought it would be perhaps interesting to feature them each month in County News. So that's what I did. And we started in December 2022 with St Mary's Isles of Scilly, because that's a bit of an outpost. And we continued on. And this coming month, April, Marham Church is the one that's represented.
Have you had a favourite so far, or one that was particularly interesting to you?
There are lots, actually, but they're also very different. And some of them are new. Some people have replaced theirs. And some of them are very, very old. Falmouth Banner, which was featured in February 2023, they celebrated their 105th birthday that month. So that's why I featured it there. But they've had the same banner forever. not actually 105 years, but whenever they decided to begin one. And that's quite an interesting one.
And in some of these banners, we actually know the names of the people who made them, because we can find records in old minute books and that sort of thing.
Yes, we can. In fact, you and I were at St Ives WI last week with their annual meeting, and we were shown a photograph of their banner, which they don't display anymore. But I came home and found in the folder a lovely picture of it. And it gives all the information that they were lacking. So we have got records in various places, but it's not all together. And I would like to find it all together in one place. So I've been through the yearbook, and I think we're missing about 38 banners.
Oh, that many?
WIs, yes. Mary Venn, who is one of the team of county archivists, she has been through all the banners that are stored in the basement at Chinaworth, and she came up with 38 banners, which have all been stored properly, no plastic with them to keep the fabric good. And there are places I'd never heard of before amongst those banners.
Are these WIs that have closed down?
Yes, they are, yes. Yeah. And they send us their banner because they haven't got anything else to do with it. Sometimes I think it goes into the local church rather than to us. But we've got 38 defunct banners, if you like. One of them being Port Byam. Have you any idea where that might have been?
No idea.
Well, I was in the office yesterday, and Sue Martin, who is a font of all knowledge, found out that it was part of Loo at one point, and they had a WI there. So you can learn something every day from a banner.
They are really interesting, though, because a lot of them depict something to do with the history of the area, or an industry or something like that associated with the area.
Yes, they do. Yes, a lot of them feature the county badge with the 15 bezants on it, and quite a lot of chuffs feature. But some of them are really very different. We've got Beaches and Cream is going to be featured later in the year, and theirs is a very new WI, and the banner depicts just two people on a beach.
Oh,
which,
that's nice.
which is a very modern twist on a very old thing, because banners, I'm sure everybody knows, were first recorded as a rallying point in the days when we couldn't read.
Now,
And
we
they
had
focus.
in 2023, we had 4 new WIs form, and I'm
Hmm.
assuming none of them have banners yet, because it's not the first thing that you think about when you're starting a WI.
No, it's not. But interesting you should say that, because Lanivit was one of the WIs which is started up again, I think, rather than it's not reformed recently, but
I
it's
think you're mixing it.
resurrected.
I think you're mixing it up with Lanson WI.
No, I'm not.
No?
No, I don't think so, because Lanivit has got a banner and I have a picture of it, but I don't know quite whether they know they've got it. So that's one of the banners which has come to light through me looking through this book for doing a little bit of research for today.
Now, we also have a Federation banner. In fact, we have 2. And Margaret Johnson has been studying our Federation banner a bit, which is quite old and falling a little bit into disrepair. Wouldn't you say, Margaret?
I certainly would, sad to say. One thing, though, that I don't know the answer to, and I don't know whether Jane does, I don't know which came first, the Federation banner or the individual WI banners. I like to think that the Federation banner inspired them all to come up with one for their own WIs. But anyway, ours is beautiful. I know it's really a favourite with you, Helen. You love our old banner, don't you?
I love the design and the colours, and I just think it's absolutely beautiful. I think the Federation one dates from the 1930s, and there are individual WI banners that are probably older than that.
1938, I think, is the date on the bottom of the banner.
So it's not too much different. Anyway, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the Federation banner. It is beautiful. It's extremely large. It measures about 5'6" by 3'6". So you can imagine it's quite a difficult job to manoeuvre. But it's a dark greenish background with blazoned across the top CFWI, which is split with a chuff in the middle. The chuff is as I'm sure most people know, the county bird representative of Cornwall. But did you know that a legend has it that when King Arthur died, he emerged in the form of the chuff with red beak and legs to represent his rather gruesome death. So I don't know how many people know that when they actually look at our standard. In the middle, we have represented a very large black shield with 15 circles on representing Byzants. Now, these were actually, in historical times, the 15 Byzants were the ransom that the county had to pay to get the Duke of Cornwall returned to us. So, it has quite a bit of historical content on it, as well as depicting fish and also the tin mining industry. It is lovely, it's beautiful, and we all love it. But its practicality leaves a little to be desired. As I've said, the mere size of it means that it's not easy to parade. Statically, yes, we can get it to the venue. We can battle our way to get it on its mount, and it stands there resplendent. But we have paraded it. We've paraded it in Truro when a few years ago in 2019, there was a big banner parade through Truro, landing up at the cathedral for a big service. And I have to say that to see it there amid all the individual WI banners was absolutely magical. And then to see them all paraded into church.
That banner parade was just magnificent, seeing so many banners in one place. It was lovely.
It certainly was. And I think everybody that went felt the same, exactly the same. But apart from that, I mean, we show it at least twice a year. We have it always at the Hall for Cornwall for our council meetings on the stage. And we also have it in the Royal Cornwall marquee at the in our marquee at the Royal Cornwall show. It's there for everybody to see. And it was on one such an occasion when I stood there looking at it and looking at it closely. And I could see that the front material had stretched, it had wrinkles in it, and you can't iron these out. But not only that, it was showing desperately signs of wear all over the banner. Little holes, little bits where the stitching had maneuvered, it had moved, and it just needed a lot of care. So I actually, at that time, I took it and brought it up at the board meeting. And one or two people, I think they could understand what I was talking about. And we actually got it out and had a good look at it. And then started making plans as to what we would do. Do we mend it? Not a good idea. It really needed, I'm a needlewoman, but to touch that, it's a different story. Do we find perhaps somebody or a few people that could get together and mend it? Or would this be a time to bring the county banner up to modern day times? Come up with a new design to reflect Cornwall as it is today? I don't know what the answer is, but we did try. We did try with that thing. And unfortunately, we couldn't really come up with a new design. And I think it was partly because Helen really loves the current one.
I think we were trying to come up with a way of keeping the feel of the old one and combining some elements of the old one with some up-to-date elements. And that's where it got a bit complicated, trying to combine the two.
You're absolutely right, because we so wanted not to forget the past, but we wanted to bring the past with us and reflect it into the future. So then I was with a group of people and we were talking about the banner. And somebody said to me, you know what you need, don't you? You need the repair shop. I thought, what a brilliant idea. So I came away and looked at the application form and I looked to see how best to do it. And I took loads of photos. I had a photo of the complete banner. I had lots of photos with the little bits that want repair. I had a tape measure across it so they could tell how big it was for a start. And I sent it off. And I waited. And a lot of people kept saying, have you heard? Have you heard from the repair shop? And I'm afraid I had to say, I'm sorry. I'm still waiting. But these things do take time.
I think every board meeting you get asked, have you heard yet?
I know. And I don't quite know what to do now. I know Pam and I, one of the other trustees, had talked about, she'll take the information and she'll try as well. But I do wonder whether, rather than sending an application on paper, whether we should maybe do a little video.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And talk about it. Have the banner there that they can actually see it. Perhaps point out a few of the things that want repairing. But I think that might be the way to go. Rather than send another on-paper application in, I think we should do that. So I should probably bring that up at the next board meeting and we will see what happens, Helen.
So do you think having it repaired by somebody who knows what they're doing, do you think that's the best option rather than starting from scratch and making a new banner?
In all honesty, no, I think it's better, even if we repeated the design. I think if we could maybe reduce it a little bit so it's easier, so that those of you that are carrying it aren't swept away if it's a windy day, so that you don't end up with shocking backaches because you carried it. I think it would be better even if we go for the same design with new materials that are brighter and have more impact, I think that's the way to go. Just even if a group of people just replicate the design.
Yeah. I know you mentioned the size of the existing banner, but it's also incredibly heavy. Having paraded it through Truro myself, it weighs a ton.
I know, obviously, it's set on a wooden structure, and that the banner itself is heavy. So adding to the wooden framework and the fact that you're trying to hold it up so that everybody can see it and it doesn't trail on the ground. No. And we do have another Federation banner, which was made at some point prior to 2003, because in 2003 we moved into Chynoweth from a building in Truro on Strangways Terrace. And the previous banner is much more modern than the 1938 one, but it depicts the building that we used to have in Truro. Yes.
So doesn't really apply to us anymore.
No, the beauty of that one is it's about a quarter of the size of the current one, which, can be paraded by one person. But no, I think it's time perhaps to think again.
I think ideally we would like to see the county banner replicated on the size of the Strangways Terrace one.
That kind of thing, Jane, yes.
That would be a good idea, because it's much more manageable. And
I think we'll perhaps get the Strangways Terrace one out again, have a look at it and try and, in our minds, scale it down to the one, scale ours down to that kind of size.
So if anyone is listening to this and is very skilled when it comes to sewing and textiles and all of that, do you think we'd like their help?
Definitely.
Oh, we'd love some help. Just get in touch with Helen or even me, because, I have been involved in making a banner in the past. It was a guiding banner, yes, but I've been there, done that, but I'd love to get involved with providing a new one.
Great. And Jane, you have a list of the WIs that we don't know about their banners.
Yes, I do.
Yes. Are we going to get in touch with them and see if they've got a banner that they'd like to share in County News?
Well, I think some of them definitely have banners, because one of the WIs is Crowless and Ludgvan, and I'm pretty sure they've got a banner.
Yes, they do.
In fact, you would know.
I would know, and they do have a banner. In fact, they have two banners, one from the old Ludgvan WI before it's suspended. It's still up in the wall in the hall where we meet, and then the new Crowless and Ludgvan one, which was made, I think, in about 2000.
Yes, it would be nice to contact everybody, but it would also be nice if people who would like their banners featured in a county news in the future would get in touch with me anyway. Just email me with the details of the banner and a picture of it. Yeah. I do put that at the bottom of every column that I write, and I have been successful in getting a lot of people. So we have a little bit of a waiting list. But it would be nice to feature some different ones.
Perhaps. And I think I've heard from...
don't get featured very much with anything else.
I've heard from several WIs who have been so thrilled to see their banner pictured in a little bit of a write-up. They love it.
Oh, good. How nice to know.
Well, I think that's all we have time for today, but thank you both very much for talking about banners with me.
Pleasure.
Okay.
Pleasure, Helen.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.